Watch this and then we'll talk about it.
Lied to feminist women talking about how wonderful their life is because they don't have a husband, they don't have children. So they're showing, oh, today I slept in, I went to the spa, I went to Belize. They just talk about how nice their life is because they don't have the inconvenience of a husband and children. And these are young women who have been perpetually lied to. And I'm just telling you, if they do a follow-up at 50, they're not going to be happy. They're going to be working late, they're going to be lonely, they're going to have 7 cats and a couple of STDs. And then at Christmas, they're going to be all alone, very sad. And what they're not going to post is, I'm winning.
This is one of the reasons why I stopped going to church several years ago. A lot of these people see what they want in the Bible, or they don't see anything at all because they're really not reading it, because the Bible does say how being single is a gift and it's actually better than being married. I mean, Jesus, they believe in Jesus. He was single. This is the kind of propaganda that the church is feeding women so that we can find a man to serve. And heaven forbid that the women in this church and these churches hear people like me speaking and they realize they can actually live life that doesn't have anything to do with a man, and they can actually be happy and free? You mean to tell me that I don't have to be stuck with a man who I have to remind to simply fucking take his medicine every day so he doesn't die? You mean to tell me I don't have to clean up after my husband who pisses on the toilet seat? You mean to tell me that it doesn't have to be my sole responsibility to figure out what we're going to do for dinner? You mean to tell me that I can be single and be happy, or if I want a partner, I can wait for someone who is actually a partner and would treat me well? Because if the women in those churches get that message, oh, those men would be screwed, because who would iron their shirts for them every Sunday morning? Who would organize their notes and their sermons for them and watch the children while they preach their narcissistic ass messages? And then you hear preachers saying, who told you you could be happy in a marriage? Who told you that it was important for you to be happy in a marriage? My grandma did, who was married in her teenage years, and told me that I need to put marriage and babies at the farthest point in my mind and focus on traveling my country. Listen, my country grandma, who I don't even think went to grade school, who is the one Christian that I can honestly tell you was a good person, told me to focus on myself. And this is why listen, I used to be the single person who would hate when people would tell me to focus on myself. Because let's be honest, a lot of the times when people say this shit, they don't even know what the fuck it means. It's just something that everybody fucking tells single people. They don't focus on themselves. They're married to fucking Randy, who they have to beg to mow the lawn every couple of weeks. They tell us, focus on yourself, and then you get a man, and then you focus on yourself, and then you don't get a man, and then you're fucking frustrated. I get it. I totally get it. But as I have stated before, these people, the people who genuinely care, people like my late grandma Ethel, may she rest in peace, people like myself, we are not telling you to focus on yourself because we're talking out of our asses. Sweetheart, we know something that you don't really know yet. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people who are married to someone extraordinary. So they're the exception to the rule. They're excluded from this conversation. And somebody commented on one of my posts the other day and said, women should only marry unless their partner is extraordinary. Now, my argument to this is most women think their average ass, bare minimum husband is extraordinary. So I don't even want to put a message like that out there. But what women like my late grandma Ethel and myself know is that for the most part, for the average everyday woman, we're not going to meet extraordinary men. And even if we do, we're going to be waiting a long time before we get with that person. Most of us women will have to settle if we really want to get married that bad. And I'm speaking on behalf of my late grandma Ethel. And I'm not going to say this the way she would have said it. I'm going to say it the way I would say it. Fuck marriage. Unless there is some way you are benefiting from it that you can literally and should put on paper and make legal, there really is no point in marrying Chad, who works part-time at Foot Locker. There really is no point in marrying Dwayne, who is the shift leader at Amazon. Most of you, if you're really not careful, most of you who are even watching my content right now, I'm going to be honest with you, I've been told I'm mean and aggressive. I'm just going to own it. I'm going to tell you the truth. Most of you are going to marry the man whose socks you will have to pick up. You will be the one to clean the toilet seat and to clean up the vomit when the kids get sick. You will be the one packing the lunches and dropping the kids off from school and picking them up and making sure he takes his meds on time and wrecking your brain trying to figure out what you're going to cook for dinner today and making sure his mom gets a gift on Mother's Day and making sure all the holiday magic happens during the holiday season. It will all fall on you. And he will sit plopped on the sofa, exhausted from living life, watching sports highlights. And then you will come on social media or amongst your friends and joke about how your husband acts like a 3-year-old, because that's just how men are. And you'll go to sleep and be like, at least I'm married. I'm happy to be married. I heard one of my mutuals say this about how one of her friends was talking about how she was going to a wedding and she kind of winced. And I feel that same way too when people talk about getting married. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy for people. Trust me. When I see wedding videos, but there's always that reaction of, because I just hope that she's getting married for the right reasons. I'm almost scared for her because I've seen men switch up at the slightest inconvenience. I've seen women give up their dreams, put everything that they've wanted and worked towards on the back burner to build a man up and to make him be great. I've seen women, and I've been the woman who got married because you felt like that was a sign of success. And you felt like you had to do it by a certain time. I've heard stories of men who got married because they thought it would make them look good. They got married just because they were trying to make it right because she got pregnant. They really didn't love her, but they just wanted to make it right. People getting married because the time is ticking, or because it's the next logical step. There's no love involved. And I always worry. Did she rush into it? Did she really think this through? Does she have a plan if this shit doesn't go right? A lot of these men are trying to convince you that we're bitter and miserable and mean because they don't want you to know the truth. And of course they don't, because they benefit from your oppression. They benefit from it. So anything that's going to take away from the benefits that they are receiving must be destroyed. Hence why they call us crazy, lonely, miserable cat ladies. And what's the golden rule? Anytime a man calls a woman crazy, he's the problem.